and welcome to this edition of Wake and Bake News, and I'm your host, Shampoo VTA, Kelly Davis. How are you on this Wednesday, the 29th of June, 2016? Yes, I have to look over every day. Here I have some of my leaf, nice and frozen, and let's see what this produces. I want to be careful banging on my hand because I got such a cramp yesterday. Oh my God. I've had cramps in my calves and stuff. I've never had one in my hand. And I'm sure it's from all the guitar practice. But oh my God. I grabbed the creamy as fast as I could and started just deeply rubbing it into my hand, and the cramp went away. Maybe not because of the creamy, because of the rubbing, but the creamy certainly helped. Because it soaked in later and I was fine. See, hands fine. But oh my gosh, right here, it hurt so bad inside of there because I've been working this thumb muscle like you would not believe to play guitar. I just got out of the shower, so look at me having a hot flash. Look at my face. See how, like, look at the veins. This is what hot flashes are like, ladies. Don't worry, almost over with. But you still have to deal with you're never going to be quite the same as you were when you were young. You know, you're going to have the old lady recovery time thing. It's not like when you were a kid. You can just go, and now I'm fine. Oh, no. Your skin smells weird. When you start sweating and stuff, it gets really strange. It's all part of becoming the venerable dragon. Got a subject there. Like, okay, if you look at my face, you can tell that the muscles of my face have detached. Somehow they've changed. So you can see there's a space now when it used to be smooth. But you can see, and definitely when I smile and stuff, you can see that there's like fat or whatever here and here, but not here anymore. And I know it goes away on ladies' lips too, and that makes them look like they have a mustache. But you can tell that the muscle and stuff on my face is not attached the way it was 2 years ago or a year ago when all this first started. That literally my skin and my face has changed. It doesn't bother me though. It's not that big a deal. I mean, actually, I was waiting for the old lady look to show up, and I think it looks pretty good. I think I'm all right. Except for the sweating. Oh my God, look at me sweating. Oh, it's because I was using that blow dryer. My hair's wet. Oh my gosh. My body can't hang with it. The minute anything, it starts tipping over in temperature, here comes a hot flash, you know. Just like when my grandma was alive. I used to watch her in the kitchen. How come she's sweating? Because she's cooking, but it's also because her body can't handle, you know, dealing with those temperature changes and stuff anymore as easily as when the hormones were, I guess, flowing through you. I don't know how it works, but something like that. My husband also is going through male menopause, which I don't have proof of, except the fact I know him, and I know I can see it in him. And I've been telling him, you know, it's going to change you. But if you keep fighting through it, you can come out the other end healthy but older. Instead of, because I would honestly say that menopause for both sexes is a time when you're in danger because you're having to go through a health thing for like 2 years, and you can create other health problems by like not taking care of your diet and not exercising and allowing the mopiness to get to you and everything. So you have to fight through menopause. This is what I have learned over the last 2 years, is that you really got to just say, fuck this, I'm not going to let it slow me down. Okay, so I have a wonderful show for you. You see, yesterday, late, if you haven't heard already, California went and put the AUMA, right, the Adult Use of Marijuana Act. Look at, I've been biting my nails like crazy lately. Anyway, AUMA on the ballot, right? So now we officially have a ballot measure that we are going to vote on in November that has 60% support and only 37% against. So it's not a sure thing. Nothing under God's sky is, but with the grace of our Lord in heaven, we will get this thing through. Now, I'm already seeing big time movement right away. As soon as this story broke, I'm going to show you this here. Something happened to the Google newsfeed. Okay, so usually I would go in and I would put in Ventura marijuana, California marijuana, and just search those terms and go through every fucking story, because they like to post things that happened 25 minutes ago on page 95 in the list. I don't know why. Instead of having what happened the last hour at the top, you have to go sifting through everything. I don't know why. And then they'll group things, and it's like they're trying to hide the real story, and you'll see it, and it's like a whole bunch of crazy stories, and I'm always like, okay, that means there's something hiding in there that I need to know. So it's like, you see it on their top of their page. You'll see I've said it many times before. Explore in depth, 92 more articles. Well, when you explore in depth under California marijuana ballot measure making it, there actually are 92 articles. Even if they don't show them all here, they show you the top ones, and probably the others are mirrors because nobody's original in the news. Anyway, so I'm looking through this morning, and I'm like, what the hell is this thing? Well, I'll show you. And I'm like, oh my God, do you know what this means? A Berlin Wall is fucking cracking. The old media is finally crumbling. And now I can show you a hole in the Berlin Wall. Here, I'll show you this now. I have something interesting to show you today. Here are all the stories in the past 24 hours under California marijuana on Google. Okay. And the majority of them, of course, are about our wonderful ballot initiative that has hit the scene here and now has been approved, and it will be on the California ballot, and we will be voting for legalized marijuana. And that'll basically be a done deal, because after we get that over with, I'd like to see what the House of Representatives has to say to me about federal fucking laws and shit. Because we're the 6th largest economy in the world. And if you want to play ball with us, or you want to play nice with us, you need to consider our opinion and not just shove it up your rear end, Okay. But while I was looking at this, I noticed something I've never seen before. This. They are linking now to Twitter and digging stories on Twitter. Gold mining stories on Twitter. I've never seen this. That's a crack in the Berlin Wall. This is the wall that is the national news organizations owned by big corporations that push their agenda. This is hopefully the free market. People out there trying to spread the news because they care about whatever, or they're personally invested instead of a big corporation telling everybody what. Okay. And then back to the big corporations, right? And they're the daily news sites that they bought everywhere and everything. Now, I remember years ago that Google used to offer a link to blogs and things like that, but they removed that because the news didn't like the competition. And I haven't seen it since. And here we are. Here's a big feed right in the center of the Berlin Wall that allows you to look at what I consider to be, like the real internet, which is like Twitter and social media, not whatever this is. This is corporate. This whole page is corporate. There's nothing here that doesn't belong to either corporations or a government agency. This is all the voice of big media and the leaders and all this kind of shit. This is a crack. That's a big crack in the wall. And I think that marijuana had something to do with it, because it just happened to appear just as California puts this on the ballot, and it looks like it'll go through. And what I think is that it's the difference between not just new technology and old technology, and new media and old media, but that print media is now in big ass trouble because here comes hemp. And the only thing that's been supporting print media for years was the fact that hemp was illegal. Here we are, the rosebud moment. This is the moment that idiot with his castle of fear, the newspaper magnate guy, okay, Citizen Kane, this is a moment he really feared. He feared that his holdings in lumber companies, which lumber companies are no longer as big as they used to be, but would fail if hemp rose as a product that could be easily grown, and he wasn't invested in hemp. So I think this is the news media's rosebud moment, because I've never seen this corporate Google page ever offer me a link or a window into the social media. It's always been this Berlin Wall of fucking bullshit news that I've been trying to break through forever. Suddenly, boom, there's a giant hole. And they're like, hey, look, this is on Twitter. Look, do you know these people? They shared this. Do you want to go see this? I'd much rather go see that than this shit. Because this is all bullshit. News media, corporate media, you know, they're going to spin whatever the news is to try to get you to go look at their crap. They're going to balloon boy everything. You know, I just thought that was interesting. I wanted to point that out. Look, a giant hole in the Berlin Wall. Let's just rip it down now. Oh, I'm starting to recover. Oh, I always have like a little flash after I get out of the shower. I don't know why. I'm fine in the shower. As soon as I get out, it's kind of like a booby trap. It's like you take a shower, you come out, you're feeling great, you're blowing drying your hair, putting on your makeup, and then you're in the kitchen, and next thing you know, just sweat pouring out of you for no apparent reason. It's like, ha ha, I tricked you. You know? Now you need another shower. Okay. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that. That is seriously a crack in the Berlin Wall. Now, I know that back when George Bush was president and Katrina happened, around that time, Google News was offering a lot of different feeds. You could look at blogs, you could go to videos, you would have a lot of different news sources. This is where I kind of got the idea that I should have a right to see all those things. And then Google News changed everything and went with the Google front page that they have now, which is just corporate fucking puke. It's as bad as a Ventura County Star. Just everything is like, the corporate games, or it's either a police blog or it's an advertisement. But there are very few real people reporting things anymore, except for us. Us in social media are the reporters now, because most of the people don't even live in the towns where these things are happening. And we saw that with this oil spill. We saw a million imbeciles. I'm so glad my son saw this. I was so proud of him. He came back because they stopped down the hill to see what was going on when it first happened. And he comes back and he goes, oh, Mom, you should have seen it. These people had a backyard, and this young man who had a drone, he was flying it up the canyon, he told them, he said, hey, you're not going to be able to see anything from that backyard. But the neighbor said, but you can go in if you want to, and you should have seen them fucking idiots like a cartoon tripping over themselves and running and shit just to get a little bit closer. And I'm like, I am so happy my son saw that. I want him to remember that from now on. That's what those people are. They ain't worth shit. They're trash. Ignore them. Whatever they have to say is a lie. You can tell by their behavior they act like cockroaches, because they are. You remember that noise they used to play? Like, there's a movie, The Right Stuff. Every time the reporter showed up with their flashy fucking cameras and shit with the old-fashioned flash bulbs, you'd hear the sound like locusts. Like locusts, like bugs, like insects, like cockroaches. This horrible sound when they would gather around. Because when they're in a pack like that, and this is what they do for a living, they're no longer a thinking human anymore. They're a pack of ravenous psychopaths, okay? So to see the end of the news media, as I've known it and grown up with, is wonderful. Because there was a time when you could not get a word in past them. And now it's like, oh, is that what you had to say? That's nice. It's so bad that Sheldon Adelson, or whatever his name is buying up papers like it was bubble gum, like dime gum on a counter, in a greasy spoon in some little town. I'll take that pack of gum. And you'll chew it up and spit it out on the ground. Okay? Because those newspapers are dead. Those are dead. So they bought up the Ventura County Star here, right? The Gannett Corporation. That paper, hardly anybody makes comments on any of the articles because most people are ignoring it now. And I see that more and more stories are popping up from other news sources, right? So that to me was a symbol that there's a big, huge hole in the Berlin Wall. Why the fuck don't we just start ripping it down? Fuck them. Fuck them and their fucking lies. I'm tired of their corporate news. It's a waste of goddamn time. It's like Russia. You have to figure out what they're lying about. We're winning in Afghanistan. Oh, this must mean we're losing. I don't feel like being a Russian that has to figure out what the news is lying to me about today. And that's what's happened. It's done. It's over. CNN, Fox News, all these guys, they're losers. They're done. It's over. The only reason why they get to tell us anything is because they have access, and that's quickly going away because no one respects them. Why would you let some, like derp guy walk into your meeting and I like to ask some questions? Why? Nobody listens to you. You don't have any relevance anymore. You're a paper tiger. Why the hell should I talk to you? I'm going to talk to the people who actually have power because it ain't you anymore. And selling all those newspapers was a number one symbol that they were all about to get just taken apart and chewed up and eaten by zombies, corporation people like Gannett and stuff. They have no intention of actually making those newspapers actually viable. They're just going to use them as a mouthpiece to do advertising. Most people are eventually just going to wipe their ass with the Ventura County Star, and you can see it in the comments. Hardly anybody comments on that paper anymore. And most of the towns figured out that it ain't local, and it's junk. Another thing I can point out that says it is that if you look on Google News and you put Ventura County as your local news source, you will see nothing but crime blotters now. We went from winning football teams, and this team played that team, and this to everybody's getting robbed now in Ventura. Do you know why? Because those are crime blotters that are put out by the police, because the police have an agenda. So no longer are any of the tourists or anybody who might think about coming to Ventura reading about things that are positive or teams or local high schools or anything, which I don't necessarily support. All they're reading about is some guy got held up with a gun on the beach. A cop got punched in the face. The police had to blah, 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 blah. There was a chase on... I told my husband, this place is becoming Santa Ana so fast it's not even funny. I said, in 5 minutes, this town is going to be Santa Ana. And Santa Ana in the 1970s and early 80s was a shit hole. And that's what's happening to this place. And you can see it. You can see it. The newspapers aren't going to tell you that. I will. At least not the Ventura County Star or anyone owned by a big corporation, because they no longer speak for locals. They speak for big corporations. All right, so I'm going to read to you about AUMA and how exciting it is. And first I'm going to read to you from NPR. No. I have a better one. I want to read to you from Fortune magazine, because theirs actually starts to try to bring up all the stuff about the dangers that are showing up in Colorado. And I was like, yeah, go ahead, spew that. I want you to now, because that'll slow up all the other states from catching up with California, and we'll stomp the fuck out of you in this market. And suddenly, our future will be so bright, we'll have to wear shades while you sit there with your dick in your hand. I hope you're stupid enough not to legalize. I hope so, because you're probably a conservative state, and I'm going to watch you go into poverty. Okay? So I'm going to read this, and I played some music along with it, because I thought that the hippie thing is the theme for today, because this is the revenge of the hippies, if you really think about it. Well, kids, it's a beautiful morning here in America, where California now has a ballot measure to legalize marijuana. How Legalized Marijuana is Sweeping the U.S. in One Map by Fortune Magazine. Let's listen a little bit first. These are the states that have legalized marijuana in some form, and those voting soon.
It ain't no joke, I like to buy the world a token, teach the world to sing in perfect harmony, and teach the world to snuff the fires and the liars. Hey, I know it's just a song, but it's spice for the recipe. This is a love attack, I know it out, but it's back. It's just like any fat, it retracts before impact. And just like fashion, it's a passion for the withered and hip. If you got the goods, they'll come and buy it just to stay in the click. So don't delay, act now, supplies are running out. Allow it, you're still alive, 6 to 8 years to arrive. And if you follow them in, be out tomorrow. But if the office shun, you might as well be walking on the sun. 25 years ago, they spoke out and they broke out of recession and oppression, and together they talked and they broke out with guitars around a bonfire, just singing and clapping. Man, what
The hell happened?
And some were spellbound, some were hellbound, some they fell down, and some got back up and fought back against the meltdown. And their kids were hippie chicks, so hypocrites, because fashion is smashing the true meaning of it. So don't delay, act now, supplies are running out. Allow it, you're still alive, 6 to 8 years to arrive. And if you follow them in, be out tomorrow. But if the office shun, you might as well be walking on the sun.
And it can be arranged. I'm just the girl to do it. Colorado's illegal marijuana sales grew more than 40% to nearly $1 billion in 2015, creating $135 in revenue from taxes and fees that the state put towards schools, construction, and other public projects.
Back and watch the well get bushwhacked. You get in your neighborhood is under attack. Put away the crack before the crack put you away. You need to be there when your baby's old enough to relate. So don't delay, act now, supplies are running out. Allow it, you're still alive, 6 to 8 years to arrive. And if you follow them in, be out tomorrow. But if the office shun, you might as well be walking on the sun. Might as well be walking on the sun. You might as well be walking on the sun.
Might as well be walking on the sun.
You might as well be walking on the sun.
Still, there seems to be no stopping the rising tide of legal pot in the U.S., despite, of course, the fact that the drug remains very much illegal. On a federal level, everybody thumb their nose at the federal government now. As the map above shows, legal cannabis is spreading across the U.S., whether it be in the medical or recreational form or both. And soon it'll be an industry because there'll also be hemp. which is really what they're afraid of. Already, 25 states have legalized medical marijuana, while 4 states, Alaska, Colorado, Oregon, and Washington, have legalized recreational pot, as has Washington, D.C. The pot thickens. I guess they thought that was funny over there. Somebody ought to give Fortune magazine a class in humor. That is real grade school humor. They need some training. Perhaps some people from The Daily Show, The Nightly Show, could come over to Fortune and give them some tips on how real comedy works. Several more states could soon be joining those ranks. In fact, after November, a majority of U.S. states could have legal marijuana in some form. And oh my God, what will we do then? As 3 more states, Arkansas, Florida, and Missouri, are expected to vote on whether or not to legalize medical marijuana in the upcoming election. Florida saw a similar ballot initiative fail 2 years ago and watched an old man, a rich old man, waste a lot of money fighting that. And this time he's going to lose. And at least 5 states will vote on legalizing adult use of recreational marijuana in November, including California, which already has the country's largest legal marijuana market thanks to the medical pot industry that has been around for 2 decades. For more on what legal marijuana has looked like over the past 2 years in Colorado, read something that will probably just send chills of fear in your spine, because Fortune's all sad that this is not going the way they want. So sad, too bad, I drink your tears. Okay, here I just talked about sweating and I put this on, but it's for the look, son, it's for the look, okay? Because it's Revenge of the Stoners, 1970, circus 1970. I'm wearing the uniform of my generation, man. Where's my Levi jeans and my Birkenstocks? I'm ready to come rolling back in with, yep, I told you so, bitch. Back in high school. None of you remember. Maybe some of you ain't even alive. One of the people I was arguing with died of cancer. One of the adults. So I was like, do-do-do-do. So I want you to imagine the dragon flying high today. La 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 da 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 da. The dragon is flying fucking high today. So high I don't need the dank. I'll tell you what freedom is the dank. Tell you what freedom is the dank. Okay. So I got some of my cookies. My green cookies. Light green. Which I will partake. I can't eat too many of these. Not because they're strong, because they're fucking good. They're not really that strong. I made sure that they wouldn't be strong. So I'm going to make sure my husband gets some cannabinoids in him. And he doesn't like the feeling of many of the strains that have been available to him so far, that he's been able to try. He tried a CBD strain through my dispensary, but, you know, it still had too much of that real negative effect. So that's why we need research, is for people like my husband, that they're not interested in getting high. They're interested in getting healthy. I enjoy being high. He, you know, he's like, alcohol, no, that's okay. You know, and anything else, he's like, no, that's okay. He was a runner, so he really, I don't know, he's all about his health and stuff, and it isn't like he doesn't see marijuana as healthy, he doesn't see the smoking as healthy, and he doesn't like having to try a bunch of stuff to figure out what strain it is. So he's not against marijuana. He's just not into the high thing. It's not his deal. It's not what makes him happy, you know. Food. He's big into food. Sex, you know. But, you know, the marijuana thing is not a fulfillment for him. And for me, it's always been wonderful. It's been my companion throughout life, even before I met him. And he accepted both of us, not just me, but my habits. And don't think that hasn't caused some fucking arguments over the years. And it's been tough. And don't think that this society has not tried to drive a wedge between him and I, without realizing, of course, they're doing it with their dumbass prohibition. Don't think that it was like a witch hunt at some point. My husband was hiding me from people and from coworkers and stuff, and telling me what coworkers he thought was cool and, you know, at his work and stuff that maybe I could talk to and who wasn't. So he was looking out for me. Oh, no, you don't want to talk to that one because she's not cool. You know, he was giving me heads up and stuff about people I didn't know he knew and where their stance was on this. And he has spoken several times for me with other people because he's standing up for me because he loves me. I'm his wife. What would you do? Okay. So I'm going to read you this NPR piece where they actually talk about it. And of course, they bring up the driving and all these sorts of things, which is so adorable. And yes, our concerns, but that is what regulation is for. That's why adults have governments. As on earth, as it is in heaven. Any law on earth, as it is in heaven. If it becomes law here, even God listens to us a little bit. And if he sees, no, you can't have this. Look at him. He's like, whoa. No, you can't have that, honey. It's got too much sugar and shit in it. I'm not worried about the marijuana. I'm worried about the sugar. That's just what you need. Sugar and butter and everything. And now he wants to have sex with my hand. Go away, sir. NPR. Yep. Can't have a lot of like ego with a bird because he's going to poop all over everything and try to hump you and bite you. He is his own little person, and we must all respect him and his desires because we have taken him out of his natural element. And if we replaced him, it would be his doom. So we are responsible for what the human race has put you through. And so we must put up with all of your weird foibles and hope that we serve as your friend. See what I mean? This is what we don't like. All right. So NPR. Birds are funny. NPR.org. California to vote on legalizing recreational marijuana, June 29, 2016. A marijuana plant is displayed during a 2016 Cannabis Business Summit and Expo last month in Oakland, California. Voters in California will decide this coming November whether to legalize the use of recreational marijuana in the nation's most populous state. California's Secretary of State announced Tuesday that the measure had obtained enough signatures to be placed on the ballot. Its supporters have raised $3.53 million. The Sacramento Bee reports, nearly 31 times more than what opponents have raised. The initiative would allow adults age 21 and older to possess, transport, and purchase up to an ounce of marijuana and grow up to 6 plants for recreational use. Today marks a fresh start for California as we prepare to replace the costly, harmful, and ineffective system of prohibition with a safe, legal, and responsible adult use marijuana system that gets it right and completely pays for itself. Jason Kenney, spokesman for the Adult Use of Marijuana Act, said in a statement, "Should the initiative be approved by voters, the reduced costs to local and state governments for enforcing marijuana-related laws could exceed $100 million annually, according to the statement from the Secretary of State. Likewise, annual states and local tax revenues from the product and sale of marijuana could reach more than $1 billion, which would primarily be required to be spent for specific purposes such as substance use disorder, education, prevention, and treatment." Supporters of the initiative include the California Democratic Party, California Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom, the California NAACP, and the ACLU of California. Former Facebook President Sean Parker has provided major financial backing, according to the Sacramento Bee. Voters rejected a similar measure, Proposition 19, by a narrow margin in 2010, but as the Los Angeles Times reports, advocates say the new measure has a better chance because it adds more regulations at the state level rather than letting locals dictate what happens, and comes after the state has approved a regulatory system for medical marijuana growing, transportation, and sales. And since the 2010 vote, several other Western states have legalized recreational marijuana use. This is 6 years later. We've already been seen legalization pass and be successful in other states. So it's a different world in talking about this issue than it was. Taylor West, Deputy Director of the National Cannabis Institute, tells the Times. In 1996, California was the first state to legalize marijuana for medical use. Stop right there. Do you know why? Because of AIDS. Because of the AIDS crisis. Because the Republicans in the government refused to acknowledge AIDS, and the only thing that AIDS patients had to turn to was marijuana. Because of AIDS. So the Republicans fucked themselves in the ass right from the beginning. The conservatives fucked themselves and their prohibition right in the ass from the very, very, very start. They destroyed their own concept. Opponents to the November ballot measure included the California Republican Party, the Teamsters Union, and groups representing police chiefs and hospitals. The Associated Press writes, the danger of marijuana are pretty clear in terms of motorist safety, criminal activity, impact on society. Corey Salesville, legislative director of the California State Sheriff's Association, tells the Wire service, we don't believe that decriminalization will upend the black market. Really, that's fascinating. And there's no data whatsoever to prove any of that. And I would say such inflammatory things if I was broke and didn't have enough money to actually put ads on TV or push my agenda. I would start screaming like I was Chicken Little too. Who could blame you? Who could blame you for blowing it up out of proportion because you don't have the money to actually put up a campaign? As the Bee reports, driving while impaired would be still illegal like it is everywhere else and won't be difficult to deal with. Grown-ups deal with things like this with regulation. I'm sorry that the police and the hospitals don't understand that. I thought they were part of that system. It's interesting that they're confused. Should the measure pass, marijuana business would be prohibited within 600 feet of schools, and cannabis products could not be marketed to kids or easily confused with candy. Recent polls show that California supports marijuana legalization. According to a poll conducted last month by the Public Policy Institute of California, majority, 60% of likely voters, say that in general, marijuana use should be legal, and 37% say it should not be legal. I guess there isn't a lot of people that work as police officers or in a hospital or for the Teamsters. Or, let me guess, there's not that many Republicans anymore. That's right, because the Republican Party looks like the elephants, or the, not elephants, they look like those mastodons stuck in the tar pit at La Brea Tar Pits. That's literally a metaphor for what has happened to the Republican Party in California. And we're coming to Washington with this. It's going to be a giant club, and I'm going to T-ball up on your ass if you're a prohibitionist. I'm going to T-ball you. I'm going to knock your head clear across that fucking House of Representatives. Get ready. Here we come. There he is. There he is. He's trying to get to something. There he is. Look at, oh. You're Pain. That's what the problem is. If you weren't Mr. Pain, And don't think I haven't cussed that bird out. I've been like, shut up! Ah! You know? Yeah, but he's such a sweetie. He really is. He's a little pill. He's a bully. Sometimes you gotta be friends with bullies too, I guess. Try to teach him not to be a bully and be nice. Okay, so anyway. The next one I'm gonna play is going right along with all of this, Javoom, and it goes straight to the White House. And this is a fantastic video that this young rapper just put up. Sorry, I just found it, so I don't know his name. And I was like, oh, I'm doing my show now. After I saw this, I was like, oh, this has got to go in. This is amazing. And this is straight to President Obama, and this guy's spitting fire, and he's got you by the balls. And I would like to say that during this election time, if you see any leadership from poor or ethnic communities coming out saying how marijuana threatens our community, you say, no, the drug war threatens your community and always has. And you're being a patsy for the people that would enslave you. I know your intentions are good, but in fact, you're bolstering the efforts of the enemy. This is bohemian.com. Yes, we cannabis.
What's this? Cruise drops out. Bye, Felicia. Oh, wait. That means we're stuck with Trump now. So ratchet. Hey, what do you think, Abe? Me too. Hey, babe. You gotta come see this. Hey, who's there? Joseph Robinette Biden. You better not be playing with the lights.
Mr. President, I come to you on behalf of my generation to talk to you about this little plant situation. See, a lot of politicians hate it, but I'm gonna break it down and demonstrate to you why it's not as bad as they make it sound. See, you're the president that I believe can handle this. Heck, your campaign slogan was, yes, we cannabis. You're just kidding, but seriously, let's examine this subject truthfully, dog. Look, see, you taught constitutional law at Harvard, right? In 96, well, you should know the Declaration of Independence was drafted out of hemp. So was the flag, so were the sails that pushed our ships on the path to the colonies. So what's the fuel used for Henry Ford's Model T? So in a sense, you could say that pot has actually driven American history.
Please, it makes you lazy and underachieved.
But how can that be when some of the most successful people smoke weed, from Walt Disney to Milton Fried, from Stephen King to Steve Jobs? The apple didn't fall from the tree, you get it? Steve Jobs, Apple, trees, Jobs created the Apple computer. How y'all flee? See, people believe that this plan is sinful. But let's go back in time and find out exactly where these beliefs came from. Cause before the 1930s, you could blaze up, but after the 1930s, things changed up. Cause that's when President Hoover commissioned a man named Harry J. Anslinger as head of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics. His middle name's ironic, cause he was the main guy attempting to demonize marijuana. I mean cannabis sativa. See, the name marijuana he created as propaganda for the people to make it sound more dirty and a little more evil. He figured if he could stir the public enough, they would want it illegal. He teamed up with newspapers who had their own motivation.
Like what?
Google Decorticator. The newspapers printed fake stories about how every puff destroys your brain, making you crazy, insane, prone to murder and rape. They use race and then said again that we makes white women want to get pregnant by Negroes and immigrant Mexicans. And based off of no research or investigation, Congress rubber stamped that legislation, and then poof, there was a law around it. So we accepted it and never thought about it, but let's get smart about it. Lies and greed are the real reasons that it's illegal, and the reason you got that look on your face when I talk about it.
Mr. E, marijuana is illegal for public health reasons. We don't want the American people breathing that stuff in and smoking it. Ain't nothing wrong with a little game day buzz, but marijuana is a dangerous, useless gateway drug. And you want me to legalize so the kids can get it easier? Well, what can I say? Either that's something to laugh at, or bro, you're more of a jackass than Kanye.
A jackass? Okay. How about we talk about this rationally? See, every 6 seconds a person dies from tobacco and every 13 from alcohol.
Really?
Guess how many died in the last 10,000 years
I
from
know
weed?
you're gonna tell me.
Let it off.
A sip, zero, nada, no chance to overdose. Not one case in history, and no, I'm not blowing smoke. Don't be a coward, just regulate and control it. Take the power from the drug dealers who contaminate, sell it, and own it. See, they love the laws, how they are, because they make millions. When drug lords and bunch of laws, it's time to amend them. As for the kids, yeah, I agree, except what's easier for kids to buy weed than to buy beer or cigarettes. Is that surprising? Think about it, sir. How many drug dealers you know ask to see ID? And stop saying it's a gateway drug, something so strong that you can't break away from. Big homie, listen, quit being a politician. Studies show it's not addictive, and the gateway theory's a lot of fiction. A contradiction, and you can quote me on it. You said marijuana was a useless drug? Hold up a moment. Medical tests and evidence shows proof of the treat glaucoma, cancer, asthma, multiple sclerosis. It could do so much if it was legal. But if it was legal, a lot of pharmaceutical drugs wouldn't be needed. I did my research and it seems that what? So it's like that pharma gave you millions of dollars. So if weed became legal, they would lose a lot of profit. You would lose funding. So tell me, Mr. Presidential, is it really public health or is it special interest? Are you worried about the kids or the private business? Since only a few years back you was against lobbying and corporate robbery. You can't plan for change, well damn it, now demonstrated in policy.
The war on drugs has been a utter failure, and I think that we need to rethink and decriminalize our marijuana law.
If you really want to stimulate the economy and mitigate the problems that emanate from poverty, it's time to legalize this billion-dollar commodity. Harvard professor Jeffrey Myron estimated $9 billion generated in taxes from regulation, plus another 11 will be saved from law enforcement resources and incarcerations. It's $20 billion total every year. You saying this country don't need that kind of paper? Put it towards environment, invest in education, infrastructure in conjunction with job creation, or maybe a combination. Just stop laughing at the situation and give it serious consideration. It ain't a joke, ain't nothing funny. The country's broke and its people need money. It's simple economics. Listen, you did it, Bush did it, Clinton did it, Lincoln did it, and now you throw people in prison for this crime that we committed? Mr. President, if it's such a sin, then why don't you and the men I just named turn yourselves in? I beg your pardon? See, I don't wanna hear that circular logic wind in that Oval Office. Let's be honest, if you got caught with marijuana the day you smoked, there wouldn't even be an Obama. No Barack at that prestigious college or Harvard getting his speeches polished with honors. Cause today, you can't get a student loan if caught with one weed cigarette. But you can have a rape conviction on your record and still get a check from the government. Yo, what the fuck is this? Do you not see injustice when it's people suffering sick, dying of cancer, whose only relief is a plant proven to ease pain? But that don't mean handcuffs, that don't mean being called a criminal, that don't mean thrown behind bars. Pitiful. Mr. President, this ain't political, it's commonsensical. Millions in prison for something that's never killed a single individual. But you make deals with prescription drug advocates.
Right.
And just last year, more Americans died from prescriptions in their cabinets than heroin, terrorism, murder, and traffic accidents combined. Mr. President, open your eyes and see the blood on the wall. These companies wouldn't care if the country was coming apart. They sharks, they only care about how much it'll cost. Ain't been a disease cured in 60 years. Why? Cause a patient cured is a customer loss. Well, I say enough is enough. It's time for us to fix this. It's time to get away from the pharmaceutical interests. Forget about the stigma. Forget the opinions of politicians. Cause collective ignorance don't mean wisdom. Forget about pandering to the system. Cause when the system's wrong, sir, it's your duty to go against it. I urge you to reread the 9th Amendment and have courage and conviction and remember your commitment to the people. Cause what if it was Malia? What if she needed a drug that was illegal to survive? Will things change? Will they be a little different? Will policy remain? Put yourself in that position. And y'all, I'm not wishing that on you, just illustrating the consequences of this little plant situation. Cause a lot of politicians hate it, but I just broke it down. It's up to you to step up, sir. The time is now. Say the time is now. I hope you step up, sir. The time is now.
There's still time. Just a dream.
That's right. You better think about that legacy, because you may be stepping all over it right now. You need to legalize. I really love this bit he did at the end where, and after the video, he actually talks about the reasons why he did this video, and he's doing it directly as a message to the president. And he's saying, you know, time is ticking on you. If you don't get this done, and we go to November and vote in a female president and legal marijuana, your whole, what do you call it, a legacy ain't going to be so shiny. And people quickly forget about the first anything. Look at Hillary. Nobody cares she's the first female president. That is not the issue of this election. It was last time because that was a first. This isn't. Now we move on to real business. So when people look back, they're not going to look back with this, oh, wasn't that an amazing achievement? They're going to be like, how come it took so long? And how come that guy didn't know better? The future, I can already sense it, is very impatient. And your time is ticking on your legacy. So you decide. Do you want to be going out of this, you know, basically having a ridiculous prejudice that was programmed into you like everyone else, and then harm the very communities you supposedly went to the White House to help? Or are you going to realize, like you did with gay marriage, that you too have been a victim of this system and you need to fight back in order to make America great again, right? Or you just sell out to the pharmaceutical companies. You decide, okay? So this young man's very respectful. I'm not, because I just think politicians are always going to lie and that they are bought and paid for. And you're talking to a corporation, and not just one, when you talk to a politician. So you have to speak. It's like when you're a kid and you're telling your mom a secret, but you know she's going to tell dad, and you kind of hope that she does because you want dad to know, but you don't want to have to actually tell him yourself. Yeah. That's kind of, you know, what's going on here.
So believe it or not, before I wrote that song, I was anti-marijuana. I'm still not a big smoker, nor would I ever advocate people to smoke. But after I did the honest research, it became clear that our marijuana laws were created on the basis of racism and corporate greed. And these laws are more dangerous than marijuana itself. I wrote this song 4 years ago, and in the last 4 years, a lot of things have changed. But marijuana still remains a Schedule I drug, which means it is in the same classification as heroin and labeled as having no medical benefit. See, this message is not for Obama, it's for the people. Because only the people, when educated, can truly make change. So please share this video and help spread awareness. Peace and love.
That was so nice. That was awesome. And he's absolutely right. I worked in the school district. I saw the wave of supposed crack babies that we were told were coming because they were trying to now relate black people with crack. I've had teachers and principals and people that thought they were helping be part of this horrible thing. And it's as wrong, ding-dong wrong as, I mean, literally. It's like one of them old-fashioned Bible stories, and the devil just went and tricked you and took your soul. And you're standing there like a fool now trying to figure out what happened. I thought I was doing the right thing. No, you weren't. And history's going to judge you for that. And you won't have no control over it at all. You got to be very careful where you step in this life. No matter if you're rich, you're a politician, you're famous, you got fucking big special fancy education, You step in shit, it's on your shoe. And that's it. President Obama right now, he's got the shit of this prohibition on his shoe. Is he going to scrape it off or walk around think people don't smell that? Now, President Obama is the president of the United States, but he is also the leader of the Democratic Party because he is their presidential nominee. He is a representative in the executive office. And the Democratic Party in California has embraced the concept of legal, recreational, and medical marijuana without ridiculous restrictions and without fear-mongering. And that this will help our society and will lift the curse of prohibition and the mesmerization that the country's been under so that we can finally snap out of it and start thinking about hemp and saving our environment and fighting back against corporations that quite frankly are more interested in making money than saving the planet or saving your life, even if they are supposedly in the business of doing either. They're lying. Like this young man says, where's the profit in curing sick people for a hospital? They're like disappointed when they find out you're okay. You're not going to buy them that trip to Hawaii with your, whatever. Yeah, I met a gentleman in Vaughn's yesterday, and I was wearing my marijuana hat, one of my marijuana hats, and it was the one with donuts and stuff all over it, and a yin yang sign, guitar. I had a Epiphone pin on it. And hot dogs, it's got a plethora of things on it, and marijuana leaves. Now, of course, he notices the marijuana leaf, and he wants to comment on that here in public at the register in Vaughn's. And what the hell do you think I've been wearing it all day for? I was waiting for someone. I looked at parents, smiled as I walked by, and I know where their eyes are going. Straight to the hat, isn't it, sweetheart? Yeah, I'm going to be rocking this shit until November. You better get ready and tell your kids to get ready. You better get ready to explain about the drug war and how stupid you are, and get ready to answer those questions that will make you ever so uncomfortable from your children about how maybe mommy and daddy don't make the best decisions. Okay, you're going to have to face up all of that, and me wearing this emblem upon my body is a way to let you know that this 50-year-old female is certainly going to be there to push this issue. And I have got lots of experience with children and education and child rearing and helping families to stay on the right course and helping kids to stay off drugs. I'm just the person to be sporting this hat. So this guy's like super cool. I like your hat. You've got all kinds of things on there. But I know which one your eyes have been drawn to. But continue. I didn't say this, I thought it, but continue. Because everyone's listening now and they want to see what the reaction is, because they're all curious little noobs who don't know anything about the drug world. And here before them stands two free human beings that have enjoyed freedom amongst them while they still live in darkness. So they stood there at the register in Vaughn's here in Ventura, just ever so curious what this conversation was going to lead to. I really like all the things on your hat. I was like, oh, thank you. Yeah. And then I stopped for a minute because now I'm looking for a political comeback. I see I'm a soapbox. I'm not a fool. I work for the union. I know exactly what the fuck to do. It's funny. The marijuana is probably the least dangerous thing on the hat. I think the sugar and the donuts and stuff is probably more dangerous to your health than the marijuana. And he goes, oh, yeah. And don't let anybody tell you hot dogs are dangerous. And I was like, oh, yeah. Go to Lowe's if you want a good hot dog. And he's like, Bombay Grill's got a good dog. And then he said peace to me, and we went on about our way. That's how you change hearts and minds. You go out there with that image upon your body. You know everyone's looking at you, judging you. And that's exactly what you want, because you're a walking billboard. And especially if you're somebody like my husband or doesn't partake at all, but believes in this. You put that emblem right the fuck on your chest, because that's like Superman. That's freedom sign right now. That has nothing to do with gangs and drugs and all this stuff that they're going to tell you. And let me tell you, you're going to hear a ton of that in the next couple of months, because these people have not one damn drop of money to spend on their campaign or put ads on TV. So they're going to go all Chicken Little on some kind of whisper campaign. Oh, you watch. The police are not going to as easily march out in their stars and bars and start spewing out how the public isn't safe and blah, 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 and this is a money grab, because they have tarnished the shit out of their star, okay? In the last couple of years, they have fucked themselves good. That's why they're all walking around in body cameras. So much for shiny badges and stuff that you bought at the military surplus store so you could all feel like, oh, this is military, this is a captain and a sergeant, and grow up. You're not in the military. You're playing it. You're playing war. Anybody who actually served in the military and became a police officer, I'm sure, is quite aware of that. No one is shooting at you every day. All right? You're sitting in a squad car filling out paperwork. So you shot yourself in the foot on this. And now you're going to have to deal with it. And you made huge mistakes. Right from accepting red light cameras to replace your jobs and thinking that they weren't going to come up with more brilliant automated ideas to get rid of you. Because you're expensive. Your unions, they cause trouble. You want money. You want benefits. You want security. They don't want to give you that. Just like they don't want to give some kid at a fast food restaurant $15 an hour. Oh, they'd much rather replace you with a kiosk that I walk up to and make a choice on what legal, whatever ticket you have been found to be parking incorrectly. Please choose your option. That's your future. So they ain't got the money. So get ready. Because we're going to hear Chicken Little screaming their head off. You're going to hear it from everywhere. They're going to try to make fetch happen.
That is so fetch. Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Hey, stop trying to make fetch happen. Right? Stop trying to spew around that, AUMA is not supported by blah, blah, blah. We don't really care. 60% of California supports it. Got anything else to say? What else do you have to say exactly? Oh, the children. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we're done with that. Oh, the car accidents. We're done. Keep going. We haven't got the research. Whose fault is that? Keep trying. We've got all the keys for those locks. Ka-ch-kunk, bing. Ka-ch-kunk, bing. Ka-ch-kunk, bing. I'm getting closer and closer to the center of this mess all the time. What else do you have to say? What other clues are you going to hand me so I can finish the job? Keep talking. It's working so far. You know? Good for you. Oh, brilliant. That's brilliant. Why don't you give me some more brilliant things from your mouth? Halloween candy. Laced with marijuana. Oh, come on. Let's talk about snacks and sodas and things that will entice children. And I'll tell you, really? Aren't you adults? Don't you know how to regulate? I think you do. Why are you talking like a child right now? You know what I hear? Money grab. It's a money grab. It's a money grab. Whose money are they grabbing? Yours. Yours, not mine. Not my personal money. Not my neighbors. Not anybody that rents from our apartments. Not my family's. Not the people I worked with in the education system, unless, of course, they derive money directly from prohibition. You're not taking any money out of my pocket. Whose money grab? That's right. They're going in your pocket, aren't they, police officer? They're going in your pocket, aren't they, politician? They're going in your pocket, aren't they, president? So who's making a money grab and for what money? So you just keep on talking because so far you're doing great. This is winning. You just keep digging that hole you're in. Just keep digging. I'm sure sometime you'll come out in China at the end somewhere, or whatever, Australia, whatever's at the bottom there. You'll find it. Just keep digging there, genius. It's working. The PR companies just keep sucking money out of you because you're a giant sucker, just like Gaddafi was. And then when his money ran out, he's running in the desert in a limo. And I'm sure he was playing some really cool music and thinking, oh shit, oh shit. And then what did he have to say? One of the last things he ever had to say on this earth was, why are you doing this to me? I bet you that's going to be very similar to your prohibition ass. Why are you doing this to me? Really? You're that clueless. I don't see how you don't deserve this at all. I gotta see what his deal is. So as my last act of revolutionary, oh yeah, it was another thing I was gonna say was Hillary Clinton had a tweet this morning, which I support Hillary Clinton, but I'm not delusional, all right? I'm a practical person. And she's a female, and that's what I'm looking for. Although it seems to not matter anymore, does it? Seems like the closer we get to the election, the more all that stuff just doesn't seem to matter, because all we can think about is Jesus Christ, we can't let that fucking Donald Trump moron be president. So suddenly, whether or not she's a female doesn't seem to be a big deal anymore. She could be a stoner, and I'll bet you she'd make the White House over fucking Donald Trump. Huh. They could have pictures of her hitting out of a bong. I bet you her poll numbers will just go up. I've never seen a guy so amazingly poisonous. It's fantastic. You hardly hear about him anymore. Remember, it was in the news all over the place in the primaries. I mean, he'll come back. He's going to try to recreate himself, which will be hilarious. I can't wait to see that. Okay. Oh, no, we do have one more story. This goes to the reason why California is going to legalize and what's going to happen to the rest of the country and why marijuana is going to sweep the country. This is a report from some local Ventura economists that estimate that the country and the state are going to have very weak economic growth. So weak, it is post-World War II. Yeah. That economist, like I say in the story, did not assume the can opener that is marijuana. That's right. This is the can opener, kids. Have you ever heard the old joke about three economists like on a desert island with a pile of canned food but no can opener? And instead of trying to figure out how to open the cans, all they can talk about is what they'd make if they had a can opener. Well, I have a can opener. I have a can opener, and I can tell you what you can make. And with this can opener, you don't have to if. You actually can. You can. So, to those three idiots standing on a desert island with a pile of cans, assuming a can opener, I have a can opener. I wonder if you're going to be intelligent enough to use it. So let's read about the future of American economics. Now, just so many of you viewers back east are not confused about why this is going to pass, or, are able to tell you can lie in your state all you want. I really don't care. We're going to have legal marijuana in California, and this is basically a land rush, and we're going to make it first. So if you decide, you prohibitionists, decide to lie to other states like, wisely, the Rocky Mountain Narcotics Task Force did, because they were certainly lining their own pockets with your stupidity and going back home to their legal state where they get to collect taxes and stuff from legal marijuana that they just went to your state to complain about. You're a sucker, right? You're a sucker. If you listen to the Rocky Mountain Drug Task Force, you're a giant sucker. That was the biggest con I've ever seen pulled by anybody, and brilliantly done. And really based on what Hickenlooper did. He went around telling everybody, oh no, don't legalize. Oh my God, we have so many problems because they're making money hand over fist, stupid. California ain't that dumb. California's got real problems from Ventura County all the way through the entire state. And we ain't going to just stand here with our thumb up our ass doing nothing because somebody told us, oh, this is dangerous. You've got to be kidding. We've got oil. We spill oil all the time. We just had a major oil spill here in Ventura. We don't give a shit what's dangerous. We're here to make fucking money, son. I don't agree with the oil spill. We could have all marijuana plants back there instead of that fucking oil field and make a hell of a lot more money. But it's going to take a while to wise the old people up that are invested in the oil companies and have made a lot of money over the years. It's going to be difficult to explain to them that that may not be the place to invest your money in the future. And if I were you, I would think about hemp. My husband was brilliant enough to just go straight down to the very base. And he had heard this discussed at the stock meeting. And he's like, I'm jumping on potash. So he bought stock in potash. Do you know what potash is? That's what they use in every one of these fertilizers. That's what Miracle-Gro is. I'm sure that's probably what Ramo Nutrients is using. So if you invest in the very thing they have to mine out of the ground to put in their nutrients, and marijuana is about to blow up as a crop, ba-ba-ba-ba-boom. It's just like with the technology field. You find out what the fuck that thing is made of. What's the rare minerals or metals that are inside that device. Then you invest in that shit and you make a lot of money really fast. That's what I see rich people do, and that's what I'm telling you. You cut out all the middlemen. Our first mistake was we invested in a company called MedBox, which has recently changed their name. So beware, those idiots are still out there. But that was a middleman. We were investing in a middleman. Cut out the middleman. Cut out the middleman. Go straight to the base. What do they need? They need soil. They need lights. They need filtration systems. They need fertilizers. They're going to need pesticides. Those are the things you should be looking to invest in, because those are the Miracle-Gro, I'll bet you, is going to do a lot of money. As soon as marijuana gets legalized, I know people don't like Miracle-Gro and they think it's blah, 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 and it's radio and blah, 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 and all stuff. Watch Miracle-Gro come out with something specifically made for your plants and that you will not be able to complain about, because they will be making money. They will be incentivized to make us happy. Right? So I'm going to read to you now from KCLU. New economist forecast by Ventura County team says state and national long-term outlook is weak. Not just for the county, not just for the city, not just for the state, but the overall country. And this all started after the recession. This whole move towards legalization happened. And you constantly hear the police say, it's a money grab. It's just a money grab. Yeah, they're grabbing your money and you don't like it because you've been making money hand over fist off the drug war. So your bitching about money tells me that it's your pocket that they're grabbing out of, and that's what you're upset about. And you want me to be upset about it too? Why? It's not my problem. That's yours. You barked up the wrong tree, not me. I ain't there to fucking get you down. What am I, the fire department? I ain't bringing a ladder, come get you out of the tree. You figure yourself up that tree, you figure your ass down. You treat yourself, fool. A new report from some Ventura County-based economists says that the state and national economy long-term outlook are both weak. The California Lutheran University Center of Economic Research and Forecasts just released its second quarter California and U.S. forecast. The report says that short-term, the state's economy will outperform the nation's, but not by much. The CLU team says that while the state's short-term financial situation has improved dramatically, the long-term outlook remains weak. Now remember, this is based on as things are now, not what will happen after November when we suddenly give a huge influx of money, like an injection, an infusion into an anemic body of healthy blood cells. We are about to infuse this state with some serious cash, like what Colorado's been picking up, instead of us paying out the ass to fight some ridiculous drug war. Suddenly, the money's going to stop flowing out and start flowing in. So remember, this economist is not taking that can opener into consideration yet. He's not what ifing. He's just telling you as it is now, not after the election. All right. The CLU team says that while the state's short-term financial situation has improved dramatically, the long-term outlook remains weak. According to forecasts, the growth will be lower than post-World War II averages. According to forecasts, the growth will be it lower. It's going to be slower than after World War II or post-World War II. Wow. Yeah, my family's used to that. We're only like 30 years out of the woods, out of the mountains of West Virginia. We can deal with that. It really hasn't been that long since we've worked in factories, and it was really great to get this education, and we'll be able to pass it on within our family for, generations and stuff while this stuff fixes itself. So I'm not too worried about that because my family is extremely durable when it comes to poverty. We lasted for 200 years in this country before factory jobs showed up. It wasn't only until the last 30 or 40 years that my family was out of the woods. I mean, before that, they were hunting rabbits and, foraging and growing their own food in next to a shack they built. They used to say there's only 3 ways out of the hills. It was moonshine, down the line, or the military. That was the only way out of the woods until they started, the economy picked up. They started building roads and railroads, and people were able to get jobs, and they clear cut all the forests and sent them off to Europe to be built into furniture and shit, So I'm not too worried about it. My family's pretty used to that. We're actually good at it. I really love snickerdoodles. I love hot dogs too. And this guy was saying, don't ever let anyone tell you that hot dogs are poisonous. The guy I was talking to in the store, and I'm like, no, they are. But we love them. I didn't want to say that to him. I'm not here to tell people what the fuck to eat. I'm here to tell you, if you choose to eat that, drink a lot of water. Don't eat too much of it. Remember that you're putting your liver and stuff through a lot of work, and I've seen my husband and my father get gout from just loving those little Vienna sausages and hot dogs and sausages. We all love it. But please remember that if you are ingesting these red meats and these types of things, that you are putting your body through a lot of work, and you're going to have to exercise. And that means drink a lot of water. That'll help offset what you're, the I don't know, overwork that you're doing to your liver. It may not offset the gout, but you can fight gout back. My husband's done a very successful job. He has not had a bout of gout in quite a while, and he drinks a lot of water, and we eat a lot of turkey. But he has a hot dog, and we love hot dogs on occasion. You can continue to enjoy that. Just remember what it's putting your body through, and you'll be fine. If you overdo anything, you are in trouble. That's just common sense, right? I mean, even including marijuana, right? All right. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to link you to AUMA, the Adult Use of Marijuana Act, where you can sign up and get information, and you can basically sign up to say that you endorse this move, okay, which I did both. So let me show you this about their... Of course, the most important thing I could do here today is to link to the actual Adult Use of Marijuana Act website itself, so you can contribute and get some of this material and stuff and share this with other people. So I'm going to link to this website, Adult Use of Marijuana Act, Let's Get It Right, California, and you can submit your email and sign up. So funny, because I'm like, gosh, I can't wait till, I get some money together and I can buy buds. And then I'm like, but I'm stoned. It worked. It's like, why am I in such a rush? This is working out. Look at what I got. That's working out for me. Mama high. Ooh. All right. So that's my show for this Wednesday. And I'm excited today because I'm kind of hoping that one of my parts for the guitar arrives, the neck. I'm hoping the neck's coming today. So I get to, and I found a piece of wood. Give me a second because I got to move stuff. I put stuff on top of it. I found a really nice piece of wood actually that I put weed on top of. All right, here it is. It has a knot, but it is super thick. Boom, 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 boom. It's obviously a piece of furniture, and it has a good tone. This would make a good guitar because the wood's not porous, right? It's hardwood, and you can hear the high pitch. It's not dunk, dunk, dunk. It's nice. It'll make a clean, hopefully, sound. I'm not sure what it is. Could be maple. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's not oak. It sure don't sound like it. But this is obviously a piece of furniture I got for like $4. There you go. At the thrift store, right? Instead of going and buying this at some wood shop, you know, where they're going to charge me like 30 bucks for this or something, I spent $4 because I'm going to. And I think this is what's happening to some of the wood from our local thrift stores. I think those guys that are over there with at the woodworking place, because we got a woodworking place in town, and they sell all these kits where you can make pens and all kinds of things, you know, with the wood handles, right? And toothpick holders and all kinds of little things. So I'm starting to get this feeling these guys are going around town buying up pieces of furniture that have a pretty good wood like this, and then they're slicing it up and putting it on their lathes and whittling out a bunch of pins and everything they can sell at a craft place somewhere. And I'm like, is this what's happening to all of our furniture? You know, I go through thrift stores and stuff, and I notice things missing or things appearing. And I can tell you that the swap meets around here and the thrift stores are basically whittling down everything made of plastic and from China. So you're really coming down to busted little electronic toys and stuff that have the backs ripped off or batteries rotted away inside. All that stuff could probably be refurbished by the right person. And it's interesting that they're offering that because obviously people are out there taking that stuff thinking that they can use parts out of it for different things. And you can. That's what my grandfather did after World War II or during World War II. He scrounged. He scrounged everything. I mean, his garage was filled with lumber and wire and all kinds of stuff. And he did it on into the 80s, and before he died, he could no longer go and work on his electronics anymore. But up until the time, like the late 80s, he would go to Radio Shack, he would buy cheap radios, and he would tear them apart. He would take out all the fuses and stuff on the inside. I don't know what you call them, from the circuit board. He would take all unsolder everything, put them in little trays. And then when he wanted to build a radio or something, he could just go and take those parts and build a radio, you know, because he could identify all those parts, and he basically could de-engineer what the Japanese were doing during the 1970s and then build parts. And he was watching the electronics because he was complaining about it all the time. They're beating us. Look at how small this is compared. You know, he was the one who was selling. Him and my grandfather worked for Kraft. They're taking over. And I was like, good. And they're like, no, you don't understand. It's, you know, and I'm like, no, I do understand. I like them. And no, they fought us in the war. And I'm like, dude, I don't have that hate like you guys do. You know, I like them. I like their culture. I think they're great. I think what happened was terrible in the war. And I think we shouldn't do that anymore. And I want to buy their electronics, and I hope they want to buy some stuff that we come up with, you know. So things have changed. But anyway, like what I was saying with the thrift stores and everything, I'm noticing that you better go in there if you want to and buy the last little antiques that Grandpa and Grandma left, and, you know, See Dick Run Dick Run book or whatever, or some just go through everything and look for something that was made around, you know, up until the 1980s. and get your hands on it, because even the flotsam and jetsam is going to be worth something, because it's really piddling down to that. Everything's pretty much now in the antique stores. It's like we've sorted through all the objects left over from the early 1900s, and now it's in thrift stores, or it's destroyed, or it's repurposed, or but it's gone. It's going away. And the things that we're going to be left with is all the things that have been manufactured out of plastic and shit over the last, say, 25 years. And that you're not going to be able to make any money off of at a swap meet with that shit. That stuff's all junk. And what I think is going to happen is, I think people are going to take all that plastic, melt it down, put it in a 3D printer, and print up their own furniture and shit. I think people are going to be digging in landfills, personally. Look what I'm doing. I mean, to me, this is just the beginning. And you just saw the economy's not going that great. Well, I've been to the swap meet. It looks abandoned. The thrift stores look like they've been robbed. So a piece of wood like this, I think, is invaluable at this time period. Because this kind of stuff is disappearing. And you're just getting stuck with the junk that has been manufactured, sorry, no offense, but overseas. And that's what the whole world's going to be filled with. Busted versions of this kind of shit. Little tiny electronic things. Just smashed and in pieces and in a big pile. And you get to go through the pile and buy it for 10 cents, take it home, take it apart, and try to use parts out of it to maybe, I'll make a vaporizer out of this. You know what I mean? So that's what I think is going to happen. I was telling my husband, the more I look around, the more I get that feeling like what my grandfather was talking to me about, like when he was a kid, when he used to walk down like in the alley with a wagon and pick up trash and put it in the wagon and take it home, because you might be able to use it for something. I have a feeling we're coming to the scroungy time, looking especially at my town, at the thrift stores and stuff like that. I'm like, wow. And it's not just that. Grocery stores. What the fuck happened to the places where you buy food? We now have like 2 places in this town where I can buy food. Vaughn's and Trader Joe's. That's pretty much it. That isn't extremely expensive or, high-end, food. There's this other place, Winco, but that place is all processed food. That entire building, from what I've seen, is nothing but like a maze of boxes. And that means that it's like a giant Big Lots. It's like you go in there and they got a lot of neat stuff. And they do have vegetables and stuff like that. But I just get this really bad feeling like it's a warehouse and you're literally being sold food out of a warehouse, and not good food. You don't get the feeling. You get the feeling like this is the kind of food that's going to make America have heart disease much sooner than it needs and kill them off, and then they'll be rid of them kind of food. Winco, I mean, they got some really interesting stuff. I don't shop there personally. I get a real bad vibe the minute I even go in the parking lot. It's just like, it's almost like my angels are saying, no, get the fuck away from here. This is where they sell poison. I literally, the first time I walked into Winco, when it opened up in the town, I said, I hate this. I feel like I'm being funneled and led, and it's a maze, and I'm a mouse, and I just want the fuck out of here. I hated the feeling of that place immediately. So it just, that place just creeps me out. My son likes it. He goes over there occasionally. But I don't see that as a grocery store where I would buy produce and stuff and cheese and everything. So I'm frustrated even with what's going on with the stores. We used to have Fresh and Easy. Fresh and Easy went out of business. Fresh and Easy was great. We love Fresh and Easy. Now everything's just, we hardly get, we used to spend like $200 or $300 every week going to Vaughn's to buy food. I mean, at the height, before the recession really hit, and Emeril Lagasse was so popular, we were making things we saw in his show. We were making falafels and fattening food and stuff, and pork and all this kind of stuff. Today we go and we spend like $80, and we go home and we don't go back for 2 weeks, and we're trying to scrounge food other places. Things are bad, and I don't think the people that have jobs right now, they need to look around. because the people that don't have jobs right now, I don't care if you have a job. It's going to make a major fucking problem for you. Because these people have nowhere to get food. They have nowhere to go to get things like furniture and clothing and stuff. They're buying secondhand stuff off of each other, and things are literally whittling down to busted little pieces of plastic and electronics in a pile on a blanket at the swap meet, and they're selling each piece of broken this, that, and the other for $1. It's getting bad. And they're looking at me like, how come you don't want to spend that? And I'm like, because you don't know what time it is. I ain't got that to spend. Bye. You know, I'm doing all right, right? But we ain't got that to spend. So I can't imagine what's really going on with people that got nothing, no security, you know. So I thought I'd show you the piece of wood, but I also wanted to mention the other thing. It feels like when my grandfather was young and he brilliantly was building radios in Ohio on a farm, right? And his sister died of some kind of, like, I think there was like a flu or something that went around and killed a bunch of people, and it took his sister. And he never got over it. He remembered her right up. He wouldn't see her grave before he died. You know, it was one of the last things he wanted to do. He never got over that. But I feel like that time is coming again. Except it's going to be shiny and plastic, and everybody's going to, you know, it's going to feel like people have money, and some people are going to have a lot of money, but the majority of people aren't. Majority of people are, it's going to be bad. Bernie Sanders was right. Bernie Sanders was right. That makes me really sad. I was talking to my husband about it this morning. There are kids now who are adults that will never have the experience of work. They will be 40 years old and they will have never worked a day in their life because they couldn't get a job. Because there are none. And there are going to be more and more people. And women who give birth in the future are going to have to think, is there room in this world of automation for my child? Is there a future? You know? Because where's the jobs for these kids? You know, why is everything at the swap meet junk, really junk? I mean, not even junk like the old people would go through and go, I can fix up this old radio. There's not even the old radio anymore. You know, what I see is guys at a swap meet with one guitar and a couple of piles of junk, and they're hoping that the guitar is going to drag people over there, look at their junk, and then they're offering way too much for the guitar because they don't want to really sell the guitar. They sit there holding the guitar going, I sell tools. I don't need that. I can't move this. Really? Then why are you asking like $185 or $100 or something like this, which is way out of everybody's price range right now? But everything else on these tables around me, you're offering for $5, $3. Come on, dude, I see your setup. You'd never intend to sell that guitar. You're trying to suck everybody in because nobody wants to look at all this fucking broken shit on a blanket. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but that's what it's come down to. That's what I'm seeing. And I'm seeing it not just at the swap meet, but I'm seeing it at thrift stores. And the parking lot at the swap meet is practically empty. I think that should terrify everyone in that neighborhood. What happened to all those people? What happened to all that money? Holy shit. I have never seen that place look so empty. And it isn't just because they didn't like it and it was drawing too many people in. I mean, all those people literally vanished. Are they holding on to their money? Holy crap, you know. So I've been looking around and I see that it's not like it was 10 years ago. People aren't having a yard sale putting their furniture out so they can buy new furniture. They're putting out whatever they can so they can buy food. You know, so they can buy whatever their kids might need for school come September. It's not looking good out here. Especially not in Ventura County at all. And I don't let anybody tell you about the numbers. Look at the people wandering around the street with no job. There's a lot of them. And the police can't just sweep everybody under the carpet. And they're going to try. That's all they got now. I feel sorry for them. I truly do. It's like watching some kind of Praetorian Guard in the Roman, Empire just fuck himself in the ass continually. And you're like, dude, this does not have to be this bad. And they're just like, no, Rome is great and Caesar. And I'm like, oh man, you don't know this is going badly for you. How do you not know that right now? I thought you were a well-educated, modern person. How could you not see that, So I'm just, I'm bringing up the wood, brings up the conversation I have with my husband. Sorry I went into that, but I am thinking, wow, I see more people buying stuff off the internet. I see fewer stores that physically are here. What they have is overpriced. People are having to knock down prices. Even Guitar Center is now flooding their store with, Squire inexpensive beginner guitars instead of these big, super expensive guitars because they can't invest in that. The bong shops have been doing that for quite a while. They can't take the risk of putting in $1,000 bong or rigs or something like that when the cops could come in and take it over, or they could be stolen. Go buy from China. It's cheap. You put it on the shelves. You mark up the price because you're not going to find it on the street. It's illegal. So this is going on everywhere. Get ready. Everybody's going to start selling you shit. Junk. Crap. Broken. Dumb. Stupid. Don't buy. Go out. Find the old stuff and fix it. Record player. We got the records. We got the record player. At one moment, I just thought it was kind of trendy and cute and fun. And now I'm like, actually, I'm starting to think I was a fucking genius. Because who knows what's going to happen in the future. Things are not looking economically great right now. And it doesn't look like they're going to look better. They're going to get better. We were just at the beach. We went walking on the beach yesterday. I'm like, why is there a 10-foot wall of sand in front of the waves? Because the beach is gone. They've had to level out the sand at the pier so that the sand comes out straight. That's not the way the sand's supposed to look. The sand comes out like at an angle from the top at a slope. So you walk towards the beach and then you get at least it used to be, you get all the way down here and there's the water. Now the water has eaten away all of this and there's just this wall. And then there's like the play equipment, and I'm looking at the pier and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I showed you those pictures in from my middle school, right? Those people are standing underneath the pier. And look back at my video. I and my friends from yearbook are standing on the rungs of the pier. We're standing. You see a picture of us, right? Where the pier things are here. Then there's these supports. Those supports are way the fuck in the water now. Way the fuck in the water now. Like, my friend Angie and I used to go down there and go bodyboarding. I can point to the place in the water where we went in to go bodyboarding. I got smashed on that day too. It was a big surf. I got bloody knees. Anyway, that was in the 70s. It's all gone. The water has eaten up, fucking scary hell of a lot of the beach. And I looked at it yesterday. I'm like, Curtis, this place, Jesus Christ. You give this place another 25 years and that hotel will be gone. The freeway on the other side is below sea level. And there's a bridge that connects the beach to Main Street. What do you think's going to happen if we have some kind of big storm? They're going to build a big wall of sand that's going to protect a dip down in the freeway that goes below sea level. Oh, this place is in all kinds of major trouble. They're going to have to do all kinds of renovations. This place is in trouble. Financially, it's bleak. It's bleak. I think it's bleak. And it concerns me. And when I see the stupidity a lot of people are building, and, their brains just aren't working around here. They're not looking at the future. They're just selling to suckers. Come on into our community. Buy something. And see what happens in 20 years to it, Either you'll have beachfront property or you'll be under the water. It's amazing. It is amazing. And then the thing I love about it is the oil company that helped create this entire mess is over here having an oil leak, and we're like, oh, you know, because they're big money bringer in this community, or at least they used to be, you know. And the police are driving around big mom fucking vans, helping to destroy the environment even more. You know, everybody's an idiot. Everybody deserves exactly what's coming. Exactly what they're going to get. They deserve this. Sheesh. It's a... I mean, I'm not really this negative because we're going to be long gone before any of this disaster happens. But I feel sorry for the people who are buying into this community today. And I feel sorry for people that aren't going to be able to afford to buy out and soon. You know, because it's... wow, it's going to get nasty here. And you can go to the beach, go down to the pier, take a look at how tall they've had to push up the sand to fight off the influx of the ocean. Because they don't know when the next big storm is just going to take out Main Street, the freeway, the train tracks, you know? It's a big deal. All right, so I'm going to leave you with all that sort of heavy thoughts. I didn't mean to really get going on that, but I have been thinking about it the last few days going to thrift stores. I'm like, where the fuck is everything? It's like everything's gone, you know? And I'm like, well, people are buying it, and I'm trying to figure out where maybe these things would be going. And then I'm like, rich people who can afford a lathe may be going out and cutting up furniture to get the wood they need to make these little pens and crap they make. That does not say anything good about our economy. All right, so I'll let you go. You stay high and goodbye, and I'll see you tomorrow. And I thought that the week would get sort of slower, but I don't see how it can get any better. I mean, what else could happen? The DEA announces, the president actually comes out and says, yeah, I'm for this. I've changed my mind. I've made a 180 spin around, just like he did with gay marriage. I mean, I think my head's going to blow up. It keeps going up and up and up. It's amazing. I'm telling you, the dragon is flying high today. Really, very happy. Just very concerned about when I read about the economy thing. Wow. Yeah, no, I see it. We're in trouble. We need fucking marijuana legalization. No more bullshit about Halloween candy and what about the children? It's like, you know what? What about the ocean? What about the environment? What about the fucking economy? And what about the jobs? Okay, knock that shit off with the I think we'll deal with it because we need the money. Is this a money grab? Yeah, you bet you it is. But we need it. You better get out of the way. You can't keep it all to yourself.